Unlock the miraculous power of I Am, 40 Days to Divine Manifestation and Supernatural Healing. In the quaint English village of Willowbrook, a deep faith anchored the hearts of its residents. This was especially true for Emma, a devoted mother who clung to hope as fiercely as a mother clings to a child. Each Sunday, the sweet hymns erupted from the stone walls of St. Jude's Church, wrapping around the villagers like a warm embrace. In those melodies lay the promise of divine intervention, the kind that Emma desperately sought as her son Jacob faced a mysterious and terminal illness that stole away his spirit day by day. As Jacob lay in his bed, the pale light of dawn filtering through his window, Emma's tears fell silently, small offerings to the God she prayed to. She took a deep breath. "St. Jude, patron saint of hopeless causes, hear my heart," she whispered. The village wrapped its arms around her, uniting in prayer as they embarked on a 40-day journey, believing fervently in the miraculous manifestation of healing through the sacred name of I Am. Each candle lit in their church seemed to flicker with a life of its own, dancing to the rhythm of their faith. The first extraordinary event took place on the 5th day of prayer. Jacob, once inert, suddenly smiled, a flicker of vitality returning. Emma's heart raced. Could it be? The villagers rejoiced, voices rising in a collective hallelujah that resonated, echoing through the ages. They felt given a glimpse of a divine embrace, a whisper of healing in the air. "It's a sign," someone exclaimed, hope igniting in their spirits. Yet, on the 12th day, shadow crept in. Jacob's condition took a grave turn, robbing Emma of that flickering hope she had just clutched. It felt as if the walls of St. Jude's Church began to close in on her, the air thick with anxiety. Where was God? Would they be granted healing, or were they left to wrestle with despair? Emma's heart ached, but amidst the stillness, she felt the stirrings of a promise lingering just beyond reach. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. Night fell, and under the cradle of a starry sky, Emma knelt in the quiet of the church, the weight of the world heavied upon her shoulders. The silence was deafening, yet she poured her heart into the darkness. Just then, shimmering light enveloped the altar, illuminating the worn stone with a divine glow. Her breath caught in her throat. An angelic figure emerged, ethereal and glorious, bathing the sacred space in warmth and tranquility. The villagers, drawn by an inexplicable force, gathered in hushed reverence. "Fear not, for I carry hope," the angelic being spoke, the voice resonating like the sweetest hymn. Emma was overcome with an unfathomable strength, a wave of divine peace washing over her spirit. But what did this mean for Jacob? The answer loomed just beyond her grasp. Was healing waiting just around the corner? Or was there an even greater design at work? As the village stood frozen in prayerful anticipation, the angel's presence enveloped them, igniting a fire of faith and anxiety alike. Jacob's fate hung in delicate balance. The darkness threatened to quench their flickering hope. What would be revealed in this sacred moment, this miraculous convergence of faith? Emma's heart raced as she awaited the answer, her soul tethered to the promise of what I Am could bring. The glow of the angel lingered until it felt like every heart in the church was a part of this celestial spectacle. Emma's knees pressed against the cool stone floor, grounding her in the moment, but her spirit soared. Hope flickered anew like a freshly kindled flame, casting shadows of despair aside. She could hardly believe her own eyes. The visions of healing danced in her mind. The villagers couldn't contain their whispers. "Is it a miracle?" one murmured, while another nodded solemnly, eyes wide. Each person felt the warmth embrace them, a holy light that filled the void left by fear. Emma closed her eyes, the angel's presence stretching towards Jacob, 10 miles away, as if to wrap him in the same luminous love. "Pray as you have never prayed before," the angel urged, and those words reverberated through the hearts of many. In that instant, every soul present tied their longing for Jacob's healing to an unbreakable thread of faith. Emma could almost feel the surge of their collective spirit lifting her son's spirit, as if they were all lifted into the heavens, buoyed by divine promise. As days passed, the community turned each evening into a time of fervent prayer. They took turns at the church, lighting candles, singing hymns, and reading verses that spoke of healing and miracles. Emma caught a glimpse of hope in Jacob's eyes, though at times it remained obscured by shadows. The flickers came and went, teasing her with the prospect of wholeness while reminding her of the fragility that surrounded them. On the 20th day, something remarkable happened. Jacob awoke with a newfound strength. It shocked Emma, who was sitting by his side with her heart beating like a drum in her chest. "Mommy, I can feel you," Jacob said weakly, a fragile smile creeping across his face. His voice, though soft, was filled with the weight of sincerity. In that moment, Emma realized something profound. The power of I am was not merely in healing the body, but also in restoring the bond of love and connection. Yet, doubts would occasionally hover like dark clouds, moments when fear threatened to steal the joy they'd cultivated. "What if this is just a fleeting moment?" Emma mused one night. "What if we are bound to lose him again?" But then the warmth of faith would wrap around her heart, reminding her that every bit of hope gathered together was a brick laid in a wall against despair. With each candle they lit, they were not simply marking days, but creating a path toward a destination of divine intention. Villagers began to share testimonies of how their own lives were impacted, parents reconciled with children, estranged friends mending their bonds, all under the anointing of a greater purpose. As they approached the final days of their sacred journey, anticipation filled the air. The whispers of fear still lingered, but now they were outshone by the joyful chants of triumph. What awaited them at the culmination of this period of supplication? The heavenly exchange had ignited a sense of expectation they hardly dared to name. With one last flickering candle, Emma found herself standing before the altar again, surrounded by an ocean of hope. She poured out her desires, aching and longing. "Make yourself known, I am. Show us your power." And just as the last light began to dim, the whispers in the church shifted, swirling in expectancy. Were they on the brink of witnessing something divine? Would healing reach out from the arms of heaven, or was there another miracle waiting yet to be unveiled? Emma felt the burden of unanswered questions, the ache of longing growing heavier. As she waited, breath held in reverence, the air stirred, and something shimmering began to weave through the space. What came next would change everything forever. Would God's plan be revealed in radiant clarity, or would Emma be called to relinquish her hopes into the unknown? The shimmering presence continued to swirl around Emma, wrapping its ethereal tendrils gently around her heart. The church remained still, a hush falling over the congregation as if time itself had paused in reverence. Emma opened her eyes, her breath catching in her throat. She could almost see the light pulse, a steady rhythm that echoed the beat of her own hopeful heart. Suddenly, a warmth spread through her chest, igniting her spirit anew. What if, she thought, what if this is the moment we've all been waiting for? She could feel the angel's gaze, as though it was urging her to embrace the supplication of every soul gathered. "Your faith ignites the miracles," came the comforting voice, reverberating within her very being. As the angelic glow intensified, the congregation instinctively fell to their knees, an unspoken unity binding them together. Emma could hear the murmurs softening into a single prayer, one that ascended toward the heavens, woven together with threads of love, longing, and healing. "Jacob," she whispered, leaning forward, "can you feel it? The closeness of hope?" Her heart ached for joy to reach him, to lift him from the shadows and into the light. In the far distance, far beyond their village, Jacob stirred. Lying in bed, he felt an inexplicable warmth radiate through him, wrapping him in comfort. "Mommy," he called out softly, unaware of the powerful waves of prayer washing over him from the very heart of the church. "I'm not alone," he uttered, bolts of light igniting his subconscious, filling his mind with images of love and faith. Back in the church, the prayers intensified, rising higher, carrying their wishes to the heavens. Hope soared and intertwined, creating a cloud of bright expectancy. Each villager added their wishes like candles, their flames dancing harmoniously in the sacred space. Emma saw her neighbors' faces, the glimmers of shared hope igniting courage in their hearts. The atmosphere buzzed, a manifestation of spiritual energy. What if God is ready to unveil his plan? The thought raced through Emma's mind, igniting a fire of anticipation. The collective energy hummed, as if the entire world was holding its breath, waiting to witness a divine revelation. Moments passed, heavy with intensity. And then, just as the warm light enveloped them fully, a sound emerged from the altar, a low, melodic hum that vibrated through every stone and into the very essence of their beings. They looked up in awe, frozen in time, each of them feeling the gentle whisper weaving through the gathering. "Believe, believe in the power of I am," resounded through the church, echoing softly in sacred resonance. It pierced through Emma's heart like a divine arrow, awakening a deeper understanding of trust and surrender. What is meant for you cannot be taken away. Tears streamed down her face as the realization blossomed like a flower in spring. "Trust, trust is the bridge," she whispered, even as the doubts tugged at her spirit. Would Jacob be healed? Would his spirit rise in response to their fervent prayers? Just then, the light shimmered brighter, coalescing above the altar, resonating with amazing clarity. But as she watched, engulfed in awe, Emma wondered, is this the moment, or are we to wait still? Questions danced like fireflies in her mind, and the energy surrounding her grew denser, more profound. All eyes in the church turned toward the radiant glow, each heart filled with a sacred yearning. Their collective breath, unity, matched her own. What would this divine manifestation bring? Would faith entwined with longing bloom into reality, or would it remain an ethereal dream? Emma could hardly contain the swirling emotions within her. As the light flickered, the congregation stood on the brink of expectation, poised for an awakening or for the unveiling of a deeper truth. What revelation awaited them just a heartbeat away? Would their faith turn into flesh, or was there an unexpected lesson waiting in the wings? As the radiant light began to shift and pulse, the atmosphere in the church transformed, heavy with hope and anticipation. Emma felt the swell of faith around her, lifting her spirit like a breath of fresh air in a stifling room. It filled her with courage, a quiet strength that urged her to stand tall and firm. This isn't just about me, she thought. It's about all of us, united in love and prayer. The hum grew louder, vibrating through every heart. Those on their knees whispered prayers, some clutched rosaries, and others raised their hands toward the glowing presence, as if inviting it to come closer and wrap them in its embrace. Each moment became sacred, an invitation to experience the divine. "Jacob," she whispered again, her heart reaching out through the veil of distance, "you are not forgotten. Feel this love, my precious boy." With each heartbeat, she visualized a thread of light stretching out from her heart to his. This light, woven with faith, could penetrate the very walls that separated them. All at once, a hush fell over the congregation as the hum deepened. It felt as if even the walls were leaning in to listen. In that silence, Emma caught the softest sound, like the gentle rustle of wings. The air felt electric, vibrating with divine energy that promised change. Then the light shifted once more, morphing into vibrant colors that swirled in a celestial dance, casting reflections on the faces of the villagers. Gasps filled the air. Some covered their mouths in shock. Others began to weep, tears of joy spilling freely. They were witness to something miraculous, something far beyond the mundane. Emma's heart swelled. Could it be that God is breaking through, she thought? Could he be revealing more than we have ever hoped for? The very essence of anticipation crackled in the air, as if God was on the verge of unveiling his magnificent plan. Suddenly, a voice broke through the shaky silence, resonating like a gentle thunder. "Hold fast to your faith, for in this moment miracles are born." It echoed in Emma's heart, sending shivers of warmth coursing through her. "This is not a distant promise," the voice continued, "but a present reality." Fingers intertwined, Emma felt the strength of her neighbors. They were all one heartbeat in that sacred place. What if this is it, she thought again. What if God truly intends to heal? As the colors blended, spiraling higher toward the top of the church, Emma's faith blossomed like a flower unfurling in spring sunlight. Her mind raced with thoughts of Jacob, his laughter, his dreams, and everything she wished for him. A wave of compassion and resolve swept through her. He must feel this too. I won't stop believing. Then, as if in response, the glowing light seemed to focus in one singular point, a beacon at the altar. It beckoned the congregation closer, drawing them together in a circle of hope. The air felt thick with possibility. And Emma's spirit soared. We are not alone in our struggles. We bear them together. Some villagers began to stand, moved by the urge to approach the altar, while others remained on their knees, fervently praying. Emotion teemed in the air, electric and tangible, as Emma took a step forward, her heart racing. If faith ignites miracles, she thought, then we must stoke this fire. But just then, a flicker of doubt crossed her mind. What if our prayers are not answered as we expect? The thought lingered like a shadow, dimming her excitement for a split second. Determined, she shook off the doubt, reminding herself of the power of the collective faith around her. Trust, it's the bridge, she whispered again, her heart anchoring on that pivotal truth. As Emma approached the altar, she felt the presence more profoundly, almost like a tangible force pulling her forward. The congregation united behind her, forming a living wave of hope and righteousness. What was to come felt so near, yet just out of reach. Could they be on the brink of receiving the miraculous? She closed her eyes, preparing her heart for whatever was to be revealed next. A mystery lay ahead, one that could change everything for Jacob and their entire village. Where will this divine journey take us? Emma pondered, her spirit trembling with anticipation. What awaited them in the unfolding light? As Emma stood at the altar, surrounded by the gathered hearts, the vibrant light pulsed above like a heartbeat, echoing the rhythm of faith that united them. Each villager, broken or whole, joyful or sorrowful, felt the same spark of divine energy, urging them closer to the altar sanctity. They were not merely spectators, they were participants in something larger than their individual struggles. In that sacred moment, Emma opened her heart wide, embracing the hope spiraling around her. "Jacob," she whispered once more, believe in this love." Each word escaped her lips like a gentle prayer, wrapped in the very essence of the holy light surrounding them. The colors merged and expanded, and a hush enveloped the place again, a stillness pregnant with anticipation. It was as if all creation held its breath, waiting for the next tapestry to unfold. Emma felt a pulse of warmth radiating from the altar, lacing through the air like honey, thick and sweet. It filled her with a sense of belonging, as if the very spirit of the universe was reaching out to her. "Miracles are born," the voice resonated again. This time it lingered in her soul, bouncing off the walls of her heart. She started to understand, perhaps, more than before. Miracles require a womb of faith, nurtured by hope and sincerity. But did she have enough faith? Did they, as a congregation, truly believe? A gentle murmur of encouragement arose around her, a chorus of soft prayers swirling upward like incense. "We believe," echoed softly from the villagers, melding into one harmonious cry. Emma's heart soared at the soul. "Yes! Together we can do this!" Her eyes fluttered open, and she looked around at her neighbors, grounded in their devotion. Their faces reflected a deep longing, a desire for something beyond the reach of human possibility. They were a tapestry of trust, woven tightly by shared hope. And in that unity, miracles would indeed rupture forth. Is this what it looks like? Emma wondered. Is this the threshold of the miraculous? The thought reverberated in her mind, becoming a prayer in itself. It echoed in the heart surrounding her, igniting a vibrant flame of possibilities, of divine encounters waiting just beyond sight. Suddenly, the radiant light swirled with even more intensity, filling the church with a warmth that seemed to cradle them all. It pulsed in rhythm with their collective heartbeat, each pulse strengthening the bond they shared. Emma felt that warmth seep into her very bones, a divine affirmation that they were truly on the brink of something extraordinary. "Are we ready?" someone asked softly from the crowd, breaking Emma's reverie. She glanced toward the voice, seeing a woman with tear-streaked cheeks, her arms outstretched, filled with longing for healing. "In faith," Emma replied, finding her voice, "we must step forward. We must be bold in our trust." With that declaration, the villagers began to rise, their feet moving toward the altar, driven by an unyielding spirit. Each face seemed illuminated, renewed with purpose. They were no longer hiding behind uncertainty. They were stepping into their divine inheritance. As they approached the sacred space, the colors evolved again, shimmering and morphing into what appeared to be embodiments of their prayers. Emma squinted. Could she see faces forming within the light? Visions of healing, laughter, and promise danced just beyond her grasp. But doubt still whispered in the recesses of her heart. What if? But each what if was met by a fervent "God can" from the congregation behind her. Suddenly, the light burst forth into a kaleidoscope of brilliance that swept through the church, lighting up each soul present. Gasps of awe filled the air as the power of faith intertwined with the divine, wrapping them in an embrace that promised transformation. Time seemed suspended, hearts raced. Would this be the moment to witness an unveiling of God's hand among them? As the villagers lifted their voices in unison, Emma felt the air shift. "What will be revealed next?" she asked, her spirit tingling with anticipation. The answer lingered like a breath. waiting to be unveiled amidst the light and their rising faith. As the villagers gathered around the altar, the light shimmered brightly, both inviting and unsettling. Emma's heart hammered against her chest, a mix of exhilaration and fear. What would come next? The air crackled with energy, a divine presence tinged with urgency. "Closer," Emma whispered, urging them, sensing their collective resolve. The community moved as one, a river of souls flowing toward the altar, so filled with hope. Each step was a declaration of faith, a tangible expression of surrender. She could feel the warmth of their hands brushing against one another, like threads weaving into a beautiful story. Suddenly, the air shifted again. The vibrant hues morphed into symbols, emblems of their hopes, fears, and dreams. Emma squinted, her breath hitching as she recognized what these forms represented. Whispers of healing flowed among them. She saw glimpses of loved ones, the silent prayers they had carried for far too long, now given a voice through this light. "Look!" A boy's voice rang out, piercing the sacred silence. He pointed toward a being that shimmered within the light, radiant and full of grace. It seemed to pulse and rhythm with their exalted hearts, a beacon of what they all longed for. Was this the promise of restoration? So many desperate to believe, to cast away shadows of doubt. Without hesitation, Emma stepped forward. Show us the healing." Her voice was strong, reverberating like a bell ringing into a still morning, waking souls from sleeping hopes. As she spoke, a wave of quiet fervor swept through the congregation, hearts igniting in unison. A peculiar hush settled upon them, and then the light began to swirl once more, forming intricate patterns. Emma gasped as images of joy and pain intertwined, families reunited, bodies restored, spirits set free from burdens that had weighed them down for years. It was as though heaven and earth brushed shoulders in that sacred moment. Whispers began to rise, flickering like flames. "I believe. We're here for healing. God can do it." They carried the air of fervency and determination. Emma felt a sense of urgency increase around her. The miracles were tangible, dancing just beyond their reach. Yet still, her doubts churned within. What if it's too much? The anxiety crept in, a dark cloud attempting to overshadow the light. She wasn't the only one affected. She glanced at the villagers. Many wore expressions not just of faith, but of apprehension. Would they believe enough? Were they sufficient vessels for such a divine outpouring? But just then, the radiant figure within the light smiled, and a gentle breeze swept across the church, wrapping around them like a soft embrace. It filled them with warmth and reassurance. Trust, it seemed to say, beyond words. Trust in the promise. Emma closed her eyes, focusing on that reassuring wave of love washing over her. The warmth flowed deeper, igniting a small flame of courage. "Together, we must join as a family," she exclaimed, her voice ringing clear. One by one, hands began to grasp each other, forming a chain of hope. They stood united, a circle of faith, broken and mended, doubtful yet hopeful. This is it, Emma's heart raced. It can happen. Would they truly see the miraculous, a wondrous unveiling of God's hand in their midst? As they raised their collective voices, the light responded, swirling above and around them, revealing shimmering glimpses of divine possibilities. Emma could feel the air vibrating, the anticipation swelling like a tide. Could miracles really emerge from this moment? Love manifesting through each heart that dared to believe? With a powerful crescendo, they beckoned the divine. "Show us who you are," Emma cried out, breathless with longing. "We need your healing. We need your touch." And just like that, they waited, the echo of their plea hanging in the air, drawing them closer to the edge of destiny. What would happen next in the boundless realm of divine possibility? What miracles awaited just around the corner? The silence enveloped the congregation like a gentle shroud, thick with anticipation and unspoken prayers. Emma stood at the forefront, her heart racing even faster now than before. She felt the energy ripple through the circle of connected hands, a living testament to their shared desire. They were ready to receive, to embrace something beyond the ordinary. The radiant figure within the light shifted slightly, its presence wrapping around them, penetrating the depths of their doubts and fears. Gradually, the air shimmered, and threads of golden light danced among them, creating a tapestry woven from hope and belief. Each flicker seemed to respond to the deep yearnings of their hearts. Emma's voice broke the silence again, filled with an eager brightness. "If we are open, God will show us His miracles." The words spilled forth from her, each syllable a beacon of faith, igniting those around her. Responses from villagers flowed back, igniting like kindling under a flame. "We believe! We are expectant! Show us the way, Lord!" As the energetic waves surged, Emma began to sense individual stories intertwining with the community's dreams. Faces flashed in her mind, people who had suffered silently, hearts that needed mending, ailments that had lingered far too long. There was a quiet urgency in each heart, begging for the touch of something greater than themselves. A delicate breeze cascaded through the room, cool yet warm, bringing a sacred reassurance. Emma opened her eyes and took a step closer to the altar. "We need healing for the broken, for the discouraged," she cried. "We come as one body, one heart." The echo of her voice resonated. In that moment, the light before them expanded and pulsed more vibrantly. It swirled like a divine whirlwind, casting shadows that danced on the walls. The villagers gasped as they felt the unmistakable presence of something heavenly. What began as a flicker of hope transformed into a roaring blaze of expectation. Suddenly, the atmosphere thickened, and a deep stillness descended. From within the swirls emerged forms, figures they recognized. Loved ones long lost to illness, those who had suffered injustice. Countless souls whispered their truths. Each face illuminated with a kind of hope Emma had never witnessed before, radiating peace and strength. A soft yet powerful voice rose above the murmur. "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." The words reverberated, echoing in their hearts and illuminating their spirits. Emma felt the warmth intensify, filling her. She turned to her neighbors, those she had held hands with moments before. There was awe in their eyes, faith bubbling to the surface. Some prayed, some silently wept, while others smiled wide as if a heavy burden had been lifted. They were profoundly touched. In that moment, Emma realized they weren't just awaiting miracles, they were witnessing a sacred encounter, an unveiling of His love. As if in response, the mystical light burst forth, surrounding them all with a golden glow that spoke effortlessly of restoration. The whispers of healing echoed louder than ever, as though they had reached back to every prayer sent up through the years. Yet, amidst the wonder, a weighty question settled in the atmosphere. Would they dare to fully believe? Emma pondered. Could they embrace the power of the I Am? Her heart beat with determination. "We need to step out in faith," she declared, facing the congregation with renewed fervor. "Now is the time for action. What have we to lose?" Drawing a breath deep in her soul, she prepared to lead them further into uncharted waters of faith. Would they be willing to leap into the extraordinary? Emma's soul vibrated with both anxiety and calmness, knowing that beyond this moment lay an even deeper discovery, a turning point that could change everything. What revelations might emerge when they fully embraced the depth of their faith? What awaited them just beyond the threshold of ordinary belief? Emma's heart raced in rhythm with the anticipation surrounding her. The air pulsed with possibility, each heartbeat drawing them deeper into faith. She lifted her arms, inviting everyone to recommit themselves to the collective journey. "Let us surrender our fears," she proclaimed, her voice steady yet charged with urgency. "Let us lay down our burdens here where the divine can meet us." As if the very heavens responded, the golden light swirled faster, wrapping the congregation in a warm embrace. Whispers of hope echoed back, "We are here. We surrender. Fill us, Lord." Individuals stepped forward, their faces etched with both anxiety and hope. A young man named Thomas, his hands trembling, spoke first. "I've long carried the weight of depression. I felt no way could lift me, but tonight I'm ready to believe." Gasps rippled through the crowd as he released his fears, openly sharing his struggles. A woman nearby, Martha, followed suit, her war-torn heart yearning for healing from years of grief. "I need to let go of the pain of losing my child," she said, her voice choked with emotion. "I want to embrace joy again." With every confession, the light grew brighter, filling the space with warmth and divine assurance. Emma could feel the power in their vulnerability, a sacred offering that invited more of his presence. Around her, the congregation held hands tighter, their unity a fortress against the darkness that had lingered for too long. "Let us pray." "Together," Emma urged, her spirit soaring. The sound of prayer rose like a symphony, voices intertwining, heavy with burdens but lightened by the breath of heaven. In this moment, she felt the presence of God enveloping them, a tangible reminder that He was in their midst. As the prayers continued, Emma's heart swelled. She sensed a shift, a new current flowing through the body of believers. Eyes glowed with longing and hands reached out towards the light. She recalled the stories of old, the woman who touched the hem of his garment, the blind man whose sight was restored, the countless miracles woven through Scripture. Feeling inspired, Emma spoke again. "In faith, we can claim our healing, our restoration. Let us walk into this light, embracing the power of I am. This very moment is a step toward the miraculous." At her words, a wave of emotion surging through the congregation sparked a renewed fervor. People began to rise, stepping boldly into the center, offering their brokenness to the divine light. With each prayer uttered, chains of doubt and despair began to dissolve, replaced by the essence of hope. But then, as they stood in this sacred moment of surrender, a hush fell upon the group. Emma sensed an undeniable heaviness in the atmosphere. The air vibrated with an expectation she couldn't right grasp. She paused, allowing the stillness to stretch and fill the space. What was yet to come? Emma searched the faces around her. The anticipation was palpable, each heart poised on the brink of revelation. The desire for healing mingled with fear of the unknown, a juxtaposition of exceedingly human emotions. "Lord, what is our next step?" she whispered inwardly, hoping for guidance. Suddenly, the pulse of the golden light intensified, swirling faster and brighter than before. A holy whisper echoed in the depths of her heart, beckoning them to dive deeper into faith. A call to embrace the unknown. What awaited them on the other side of belief? In that sacred space of possibility, Emma understood they were on the edge of transformation. "Are we ready for His will?" she posed to the congregation, her voice quivering with expectation. As their eyes locked onto hers, she could feel the electric excitement in the air. The journey was about to deepen. Would they take the leap? What miracles would emerge from their unwavering faith? The silence stretched, a thin veil of expectancy held by unknowing hearts. Emma's gaze swept over the congregation. She could almost see the threads of faith and doubt woven together in a delicate tapestry. Each person's story echoed in the stillness, a symphony of yearning that reached the heavens. "God is moving among us tonight," she said softly, her voice wrapping around the stillness like a gentle breeze. "He invites us into a deeper encounter, a place where transformation happens when we let go." The golden light began to throb in time with the heartbeat of the room, each pulse growing stronger, inviting all to lean in, to press. Closer to the divine. Whispers filled the air, each voice yearning to touch the hem of his garment. "I feel something," a voice shouted from the back, electrified with excitement. It was Sarah, an older woman whose eyes sparkled with newfound hope. "I feel him tugging at my heart." Others echoed her sentiments, the room brimming with fervor. Emma felt her spirit lift as they cried out together, "We believe, we trust." The gravity of the moment swirled like the light, amplifying their collective yearning into an exquisite act of surrender. "Let's lean into it, friends. Let's worship him for who he is, for the promises that are yet unbroken," Emma exclaimed. As music filled the space, voices raised high in praise harmonized with the rhythm of their faith, creating a current that surged through the gathering. Hands lifted, hearts aligned to the divine, each note becoming a step closer to the miraculous. But in that joyous crescendo, a shadow flickered in Emma's heart, a hint of doubt emerging in a room so filled with light. "What if we're not ready?" a whisper echoed in her mind. Yet she felt the fragile nature of that thought slip away as she glimpsed the tears pooling in Thomas's eyes. "Look at him," she thought, her determination igniting with renewed passion. She turned to the congregation, words dancing on her lips. "Miracles don't wait for the perfect moment. They thrive in brokenness, bloom in chaos. With every step toward I Am, we inch closer to our divine appointment." Propelled by the energy, more stepped forward. A father named Daniel with a heavy burden of shame broke through the line. "I've lived in shadows," he said, voice trembling yet resolute. "But tonight I want to see his light." As he spoke, Emma felt the golden light pulse anew, wrapping around him with tenderness. The truth of that moment settled deep within her heart, surrender in its purest form. "Here is your moment, Daniel. Come to the light," she beckoned. And as he moved, the congregation joined him, a flood of warm hands and loving hearts enveloping one another. "Oh Lord," Emma prayed, her voice steady and unwavering, "show us what you are doing." She could feel the mantle of responsibility settle upon her. An angelic presence emanated from her, compelling her forward. "Let's pray on him together. Let's unleash heaven's power upon this man." Their prayers swept through the air as a mighty wave, coursing through Daniel, igniting hope within him. Shouts of affirmation erupted, creating a barrier against fear and despair. As Daniel stepped back, the light swirling around him shimmered with a fresh intensity. Something remarkable was shifting within him. He was lighter, freer. Emma grinned, not only out of joy for him, but because she felt a whisper of an even greater promise unfolding just beyond their reach. "Is there anyone else?" she asked, her heart open to the movement of the Spirit. Instantly, others emerged from their places, each one a testament to courage and desire to break free. Yet in the midst of their hopefulness, Emma felt an undercurrent of challenge swelling beneath the surface. Could each heart truly be ready for the depths of his will? "Lord, let us not shy away from what you are revealing. For every soul united in faith, what greater plan awaits?" As prayers filled the air, the golden glow intensified. The atmosphere was electric, a threshold teetering on the brink of the extraordinary. And it was then that Emma realized this wasn't just a meeting of hopes and wishes, yet a calling to explore the vastness of God's grace. With one daring leap, the congregation stood at the precipice of something life-changing. What wonders awaited them beyond their wildest imaginations? Emma felt the tremor of divine anticipation yet to unfold. "Are we prepared for the blessings that await?" she breathed, her soul igniting with the potential for what lay ahead. The congregation stood together in sacred resolve, the air thick with faith and anticipation. Emma glanced around, fueled by a radiant energy that seemed to ripple through the gathering like a gentle breeze. Each face reflected a mixture of hope and vulnerability, hearts tethered to the infinite possibilities birthed by their unity. "Believe in the power of I Am," Emma proclaimed, her voice rising like incense, wrapping around those present. "Tonight, we stand as vessels for miracles. This is the moment we've been praying for." In that instant, a swell of fervent agreement rose from the villagers, a symphony of affirmations resonating with divine truth. "We believe, we trust." And then a hush fell over them, an expectant silence laced with humility and desire. It was a sacred pause, an invitation to the divine to come forth and reveal his plan. Emma could feel the palpable tension binding them together, an electric pulse that seemed to echo the rhythm of their united hearts. "Lord, we lay down our fears at your feet," Emma prayed aloud, her spirit soaring. "Come and meet us here in this special place. Show us the miracles we yearn for." With each word, she felt a physical response in the atmosphere. Warmth, understanding, and the sweet fragrance of divine promise enveloped them all. It was then a brilliant light burst forth from the altar, enveloping the church in an ethereal glow. Waves of warmth cascaded over Emma and the villagers, igniting a joyous fervor in their spirits. Gasps of amazement rippled through the group as the glorious presence unveiled a deeper reality, one that illuminated the whole of the gathering. "See, the Spirit is with us," someone exclaimed, pointing to the shimmering radiance that danced above the altar. The light pulsed and swirled, echoing the harmony of their prayers, and Emma felt it settle in her heart, a soothing balm against every wound and every fear. "Be not afraid," the voice of the angel broke through the silence once more, resonating with heavenly authority. "For every cry of the heart is heard, every prayer is answered." In due time, the words caressed their spirits, lifting them from the weight of earthly burdens. Tears began to flow, not of sorrow, but of gratitude and overwhelming joy. Emma watched as her neighbors surrendered their fears to the waves of love engulfing them. They embraced one another, their bond stronger than ever, all barriers falling away in the presence of something sacred. In that revelatory moment, Emma felt an unmistakable call. The divine was inviting them to unite their dreams, to merge their hopes into a tapestry of healing and transformation. "Step forward," she urged. "Feel the power of this love. This is where the miraculous begins." One by one, the villagers approached the altar, filled with purpose and anticipation. Each individual bore their burdens, casting them into the light, releasing their pain and fear. Emma held her breath in wonder as they began to declare their needs, finding strength in their collective vulnerability. "Lord, I seek healing from the memories of loss," cried Martha, stepping into the warmth. And then, "I pray for hope in my weary heart," came the voice of Daniel, his soul awakening. With every proclamation, the light grew brighter, wrapping around each soul declaring their trust. Emma felt the sanctuary vibrating with a symphony of devotion, a chorus of lives intertwined through their longing for restoration. As she engaged in prayer alongside them, warmth surged through Emma's being, igniting a flame of divine purpose within her. Together, she prayed, we claim the healing and blessings that await us. Your will be done, O Lord. In unity we find strength. Then, as if their collective cries were heard above, the light above the altar enveloped them. The atmosphere thickened, filled with tangible presence and profound peace. They were hovering at the edge of grace, the threshold of miracles awaited. And amidst the brightness, Emma could hear the gentle whisper of encouragement. Open your arms to receive, for the healing is at hand. Waves of gratitude washed over her as Emma realized that it was not just physical healing they sought. It was the restoration of spirits, the rekindling of dreams, and the building of a deeper connection with the divine. Tonight, we embrace the incredible truth of I am, Emma cried out. This is our moment of change. Let's witness his glory in our lives. With that, light exploded in a vibrant display of colors, illuminating each villager and filling them with a profound sense of purpose. Laughter mixed with joy, and tears transformed into praises as the tangible presence of God enveloped them. Beyond the walls of St. Jude's Church, a new dawn was met with promises, and inside it, lives were being transformed, hearts renewed, and spirits lifted. Emma stood in awe, encapsulated in divine grace, knowing they were not just waiting for miracles, alive in a moment where they realized they were the manifestation of faith itself. And so, as the light crescendoed in harmony with their prayers, hope intermingled with the promises of healing. Together, they surrendered, ready to embrace whatever the divine had in store, confident that their Sisyphean load had been shifted towards grace. The healing had begun. Now, my dear friends, this is the moment to stand with us. You need to subscribe now to the channel to not miss the next exclusive faith stories. Leave a like now. Your support feeds the algorithm and helps us reach more souls yearning for hope. Comment below your reactions and testimonies about the ending. You may inspire someone who needs to hear your story. And this is urgent. You must share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this manifestation. Only true servants of God understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions. Don't wait even one more second to dive deeper with us.